lot of them are actually quite nasty. Like it gets very vengeful, almost like revenge porn. It reads really, really dark.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The first thought I had was like, who hurt you?
Yeah.
What's her side of the story?
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
How's it all going out there in Stratford?
It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
It's going all right?
Yeah. An unforgettable season.
What is the story of this what is the story of this Montreal thing? Like you were a kid at home, and there was a Shakespeare company in the park across the street?
Yeah.
So what's going on?
Well, the Shakespeare in the Park in Montreal is called Repercussion Theatre.
Yeah.
And it's a traveling company. So they hit parks throughout the island. In fact, at some point they were going, I think they even went down to the States at some point.
Yeah.
And there's a park near my house, and it's an English community. So they would usually sit there for maybe 2-3 days and do a repertoire. They had 2, sometimes 3 plays. And so I fell in love with Shakespeare and theater at the same time. There was just there's something really magic about Shakespeare outdoors, I think. And there's also just the liminal space of watching the actors set up or intermission, passing the basket or the hat. And I'm remembering specifically there was a Midsummer Night's Dream where, of course, the fairies come out into the audience, and you couldn't really tell where the stage ended. So the play would end, and I'd go home, and suddenly, well, wait, the whole park could be a stage, really. So yeah, there was something to that just got me hooked.
So hold on, were you like lying in bed hearing it? Like what made you go over there and hear it? Like what were you?
Oh, it's my parents.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Yeah. My parents are storytellers, both of them. My dad would he would put me to sleep. Instead of reading stories, he would tell them.
Yeah.
And he would always end with "to be continued" for the next day. So that's a huge part of me.
Yeah.
And my mom loves poetry, so she would always read me that. So, you kind of have that taste for it, and they would always bring me to the theater. But it's a free Shakespeare play that is available, and yeah, they brought me to that. And then when they saw that I loved it, they were forced to keep coming.
Night after night, whether they wanted to or not.
Yeah, that's it.
So then the story that I hear is that you end up going to Stratford with a high school class to see the Taming of the Shrew. And that is a very profound and powerful moment for you. So what do you most remember about that performance that you went to see in high school?
Shauna McKenna.
The actor, Shauna McKenna.
The actress, Shauna McKenna, playing Katrina in Taming of the Shrew, and Graham Abbey playing Petruchio. Now, I didn't know them at the time, right?
Yeah.
I was in high school. But, and the space itself as well. Like, I'd never seen a space. The shape of the festival stage is so communal, and it's almost like a hug. So you're watching everyone watch the show. It has this Greek theater, amphitheater kind of feel. And oh my God, Shauna's rage and command of the stage was magnetic. And I went home, and I guess you know the story. I went home, I wrote Stratford on a piece of paper, and I stuck it on my ceiling.
So hold on, let's talk about that. So you saw that performance, and you said to yourself, you saw Shauna McKenna perform, you saw the theater, you smelled the grease paint, and you said to yourself, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Specifically there at Stratford.
Yeah. Yeah, like the town itself, it boggled my mind that a town like that exists, that there are 4 theaters running plays matinee and evening every day. You can see an actor play a tragedy and then a buoyant comedy in the evening in completely different parts. It just felt like an actor's gym, which it is now that I know.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to experience that.
So when you wrote down Stratford, what did you write it on? What do you remember? What was it?
My dad still has the piece of paper, the regular paper, with pencil.
And you wrote the word Stratford on it, and you put it on
my bedroom ceiling.
Why?
I don't know. It was a goal.
What do you remember about doing it?
Like a cherished wish that you can't really bring yourself to say, but that you want to hold on to, I guess. Yeah.
Like you got home and you said, okay, I want to go to Stratford. And you said it was a wish that you had. Did you say it was one you felt like you couldn't say out loud?
Yeah. I mean, because for quite a long time, I was a professional actor in Montreal, and I was happy. And it's one of those things, you can't, our profession is so tumultuous. You can't really You can hope, but you can't go, okay, this is definitely going to happen. So it's just something you put out in the universe and go, well, we'll see.
So would you go to bed at night and look up at it?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Like consciously, would you go to bed and go like, yeah, there it is. Like that's it. You
Man,
know?
you're really fascinated by this piece.
I am. I've never heard a story like that before.
Really?
Yeah. I've heard of people having dreams and goals and wishes and manifesting and stuff like that. But I find it's hard not to find that interesting that you would write that down and sort of look at it in the evenings.
Yeah. It was just like, oh yeah, that. Because I think there's something to theater that has always appealed to me, and it's different from film and television. I love that medium as well, but the ensemble nature, the connection, the immediacy of it. And in Canada, it is one of the top places to work to have that. So, yeah, it was just this, I hope. And you throw it out and hope.
What do you most remember about getting the notice that you were going to work there?
I had the best sleep of my life.
All of a sudden, there wasn't a piece of paper staring at you anymore. What do you mean? What do you remember?
Well, it was to be in the conservatory,
Yeah.
run by Martha Henry, and it's one of the it was this dream that you don't really think is ever going to happen. It's just nice to have dreams, really. But yeah, it felt like a dream come true, and I knew that I was going to grow in ways that I couldn't foretell. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you knew that something was going to happen. You knew that there was going to be changes that were going to happen. When you got on stage for the first time there and the curtain finally came up and you were going to do your first real performance there, were you able to have the presence of mind to go, this was a dream I had and I've realized it? Or were you just kind of going, I have lines to remember and I have to do this job?
I still think that. Is that crazy? I still, right before the curtain goes up, or there's no curtain, right before I step on,
you're right.
I'm still deeply grateful and remind myself that this is something I've wanted for a very long time.
Not everyone gets that unspoken wish fulfilled, man. That's something else.
Yeah.
So Shakespeare, you said you fell in love with theater and Shakespeare at the same time is what you told me. What kind of love is it that you have for Shakespeare?
Oh, it's the scope of storytelling. Like it goes like this and like this at the same time. Oh, I should probably describe that horizontally and vertically. It's like this prism. His play is sort of capture, depending which way the light goes in, it captures the human soul and spirit in so many different ways and layers. And depending who you are and your, like where you come from, it adapts to the framework, I guess. The language, I even remember as a child, like the language, it's so epic, it's so larger than life and yet most intimate. Yeah.
You were a kid, and even then you were in love with Shakespeare?
Yeah, I probably didn't understand it, but I was like, this is important. This sounds this sounds big. I'm bilingual, right? So I learned English and French at the same time in my household, and I went to French school until theater school. I wonder if it has something to do with that too, like language to express yourself, constantly translating in your mind. Like suddenly you have this language that is difficult, that I don't quite understand, and yet I understand something of it. And I'm kind of in admiration that the actors were able to do that, you know?
What's the hardest thing about his work as an actor?
The level of energy required, I think. He writes in long thoughts. So sometimes the character doesn't know that he's going to go on for an entire monologue, right? So it's that energy of, that continued sustained energy of thought that goes down these slalom paths. It really does feel like a gym. It's like keeping a bunch of balls in the air. Like this is my main thought, and then also look at all this fancy stuff over here, and I land the final thought. It's the framework that it's written in too. Like the iambic pentameter is so tight and yet so freeing at the same time, and it takes time to understand that and to learn that and to be able to play with it too. So I think that there's fun to be had in that.
I guess the reason I'm curious about your love of Shakespeare is because of the Dark Lady, which I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So Shakespeare is a character in this. You're a playwright as well. In this award-winning play you did in 2023, it's playing in Vancouver this summer. This work came from you reading Shakespeare's Dark Lady sonnets. When did you first read those?
Oh, it was in theater school, probably.
I'm not familiar with them. Can you tell me a little bit, and for folks listening at home, tell us a little bit about them.
Oh, sure. So, I don't know how many. There's like 54, 56. Someone's going to get mad. There's a certain
Just wait till I ask you to recite all of them.
Oh, my
Yeah,
Lord.
yeah.
But they're fascinating.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so we have the plays, and then, no, there's 186.
Sure.
Anyway.
Yeah.
They're all written from the I perspective, right? So it's so tempting to want to assume that it's Shakespeare writing from his own perspective and wanting to find some sort of autobiographical sway to
Yeah,
them,
one would
right?
assume that this man who we only ever read his plays and him telling stories of kings and knights and Julius Caesar, we rarely get an insight into him.
Yeah.
So when we read the sonnets and they are written in the first person, I did this. Yeah, you're right. It would be tempting for us to go, well, we finally get to learn something about this very mysterious figure.
Exactly.
Okay.
A window into the genius.
Yeah.
And the first, I want to say 100 and something, seem to be about this fair youth. They're very much about, oh, you're so good looking, you should probably get married. Hey, by the way, I'm just going to reiterate how good looking you are. And, it's very much about time and the withering of beauty and everything coming to an end and legacy, and you should get married and have children kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what fascinated me were the maybe 30 sonnets right at the end of the way that we have them packaged. And even that is contested now, like whether they are in chronological order or not. That's something else that's fascinating. But there's these specific sonnets that we've called the Dark Lady sonnets. Like that's how historians refer to them, where he is talking about this mysterious woman. He never actually calls her dark. He calls her black. Her black hair, her tanned skin, her black thoughts. Like sometimes it gets kind of heavy. And I even remember in theater school, a lot of them are actually quite nasty. Like it gets very vengeful.
They're not love poems?
Well, they're passion poems, but both extremes of the passion. Like there's clearly some sort of breakup that has happened and almost like revenge porn. It reads really, really dark.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the first thought I had was like, who hurt you?
Yeah.
What's her side of the story? Yeah, so it's always sort of been in my mind.
And what did you find out?
Well, that there's a lot of contestants for who this woman might have been, like historical figures. And Emilia Bassano was a historical figure from that time, a woman who was a poet in her own right, who was actually one of the first English women, if not the first, to publish her own book of poems. And her family were all musical in different respects, but they were all court musicians. All the men were court musicians in Elizabeth's court. So it places her in a situation where when Will Shakespeare and his troupe would have come to perform at court, he would have known these people. A lot of them actually even composed music for his plays.
Right.
So there's a lot of historical fact that could easily get stretched into, well, wait a second. This places them in a situation where they'd know of each other. And they both are pretty powerful artistic figures.
Yeah.
I mean, my creativity, like it ran wild. My imagination just took off from there.
Now, mind you, there are people who think that she was a collaborator of Shakespeare's, and there are people who think that she may have been a muse of Shakespeare's. What did you learn? What did you deduce? Where did you land?
Well, when you look at her biography, her story mirrors Shakespeare's canon of plays. Like there are so many of these little mirroring moments that it's too overwhelming to ignore.
Do you have an example?
His son, Hamnet, died the same year as her daughter, Odelia. And then he writes Hamlet, where there is an Ophelia. There's quite a few.
Yeah.
Taming of the Shrew has Batista as the father.
Yeah.
Her father's name was Batista.
Okay. All right.
It's little things like that.
Yeah,
and when
yeah.
you start to accumulate them, it gets very interesting.
So then you what? So then you learn more about this voice. You learn more about this sort of I guess dark lady, and you start thinking to yourself, what? I want to hear a little bit from her perspective.
Yeah, for sure. It's you know what? There's this book by Tina Packer called Women of Will, where she traces all of her experiences of playing Shakespeare's female parts and starts to feel like, hey, he got better at this as he got older.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Yeah.
When you really look at the entire canon,
Yeah.
you're watching a playwright age, get better, wisdom, experience. But specifically, the female voice gets larger, affects the storyline more.
Yeah.
And it was reading Emilia Bassano's poems, which, I'm so sorry, Emilia, they're not necessarily proficient, like they're not necessarily good, but
This is the Goodreads review here. I love
my
it, by
God,
the way. That's
Amelia.
good. That's all right.
but it's what she was trying to accomplish with it. They're revolutionary in terms of what she was trying to do. She takes every female character in the Bible and gives them their side of the story. She reinvents, like, why do we blame Eve only?
Okay.
So she starts to try to,
Yeah.
at a time where women weren't writing, they weren't publishing, she published this.
Yeah.
So a lot of scholars see her as a proto-feminist in a way. But she has these, like, introductions to writing letters to all these female high-placed women that she was trying to get as patrons. She was trying to see herself as a professional poet at a time that this didn't exist. And in those introductions, there's this, like, fervent, passionate, angry female voice about wanting to be seen as an equal. And suddenly, maybe because I have the canon, Shakespeare's canon in my head, like it hit me right at the right time when I wrote this play, where I went, oh, that's Rosalind, that's Kate, that's Paulina, that's like all of Juliet. Like it started to hit me that that's what Shakespeare was tapping into as well, and that you really can see a growth in his work. So if these two met, if these two collaborated, she was a muse but also a poet in her own right, like what does that do? And who gets to be in the history books?
Yeah, yeah. And who gets to be in the history books? In some ways, like you are doing the work that she was doing. She was doing the work with other women in literature and saying, well, who are these other people? Who are these muses? Like, what's their story? Where's their agency? It strikes me that you're doing that with her.
Right, trying to shed light on someone who was marginalized in history.
Yeah, that strikes me that's sort of what you ended up doing as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that's what carried me. It's like, okay, well, how do we shed light and give this story buoyancy? And I think it was really important for me too that it's anyone that has felt marginalized. I got to do the premiere production as an actor, which I was like a completely different hat to put on from having to write it and then suddenly having to embody her. But it was important for me that like anyone who has felt marginalized, who has felt like maybe these plays weren't for them, to be able to own that language, that material, and that story.
You have talked about your own experience of feeling unwelcome in some rooms or feeling like you had to, I think the line was, like as a bilingual, biracial, tall woman, you said, I spent a lot of my time as a young actor apologizing for my presence in the room or hoping there was room for my presence in the room.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I now that I teach as well, I my heart goes out to that young actor that I can imagine, like myself back then.
Well, yeah, what was she going through then?
So much of growing up is learning how to be yourself. More yourself, right? Expanding your sense of self.
Yeah.
And I think when I was first coming out, I didn't correspond to the idea of what a classical theater actress should look like or sound like. And I was fighting against that or something, or wanting to try too hard to show that I was accepted or enough.
What did a classical theater actress look like or sound like in your mind back then?
I have no idea. Like, just not me. I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. Just
not you.
Not me. I had, and it was this realization of just you are enough, and what you bring is going to be different from everyone else. And in fact, the more you are yourself, the more this text flies. The better an actor you become because you're sourcing from the material that you have, right? So, and part of that was my training at Stratford too. Like Martha Henry helped so much, and the mentors that I've had there have been completely instrumental.
Well, it's because I thought you were talking about, the roles that you play as a biracial woman historically perhaps would not have been invited to play in that work.
Yeah.
I assumed that's what you were talking about, where I need to sort of fight for my presence in the room. I need to not apologize for my presence in these roles.
Yeah, of course. That's forefront, obviously. And especially being biracial is interesting as well, because you tend not to belong to either side, or you have to pick a side, but then the door could be closed on you. You don't get to control that, an audience's perspective of what you are. But it was more than that too. It was being taller, having a deeper voice. Like, there's so many things that as a young actor, I look back on, oh my God, I wish I could have given her a hug,
Yeah, you look back. I know that feeling. I like that kind of work too. Like to go back and think about your younger self who was going that and just saying, "Hey, you were okay.
You were fine." Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. And when you were feeling this way, did writing give you that agency, that sense of control that maybe you weren't getting from?
No, I actually started, I've always written for fun.
Yeah.
But I really only started writing proper 5 years ago. I think, it was COVID. We had all this time on our hands. I was ready to do a season that I was really looking forward to at Stratford, and and we weren't sure. It was so uncertain. And I started to think about what we had lost not being able to gather in the theater. In fact, I even remember having nightmares where we would be rehearsing the play that we were supposed to be doing, and then the cops came and threw us all in jail because suddenly it's illegal to gather and to tell stories. And I think it's from that. It was, Fiona Mongillo, who runs the Here for Now Theatre, where a very early draft of The Dark Lady was first done.
Yeah.
She said, we can probably gather maybe 10, 20 people outside. Why don't we write something?
Yeah.
And I grabbed that challenge at a time where, yes, everything was very uncertain, and it was sort of, who am I when I'm not performing? And okay, so I can't perform the thing, but I can still tell the story. I can still write something projecting into the future of maybe someone else doing it, And I had the luxury of time to actually just fall deep into that Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole of exploration and research.
Well, geez, it worked out right away, didn't it? Pretty good right off the bat.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. First one out of the gate.
Yeah.
5 years ago. Does pretty well.
Yeah. I'm very grateful.
We've been talking about Shakespeare, and of course, when you talk about Stratford, you're going to talk about Shakespeare, but you're also starring in the stage adaptation of Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility. I can tell already how much Shakespeare meant a lot to you. Jane Austen, similar?
Oh, I loved the books for sure, but I have a soft spot for the movie. Emma Thompson, and she wrote the screenplay. She won an Oscar for the screenplay. And I remember watching it with my mum when I was quite young. So the story meant a lot to begin with. But there's something in this adaptation that it really, it's its own thing. Because any chance to try to theatricalize a novel like that, you might lean yourself to a lot of sitting, drinking tea and taking long walks in the park, because that's kind of all these people did. Mm-hmm. But this adaptation, Kate Hamill's adaptation, and Daryl Cloran's incredible direction, channels the magic of theater. What makes theater different from any other art form? Why do we like coming to see shows? What is the possibility that lends itself to people gathering and watching something happening live? And takes that story and just infuses so much joy, cheekiness, wonder, and like a kind of ebullience to this play.
So hold on, it takes the novel and in dramatizing it, explain this to me. It makes a case for theater?
Yes.
How?
I don't want to spoil
Give me
too much.
Give me a little bit.
Well, it's channeling a love of storytelling. Okay, we're on a carriage ride. Well, we're not going to bring a carriage in. We're going to make it. Oh, and then he comes on a horse. We don't have a horse. Imagine it. Here's someone playing a dog. It's this, you know what it is? It makes me feel like I felt when I first fell in love with theater. And I've told Daryl that, like in the first couple of rehearsals, oh my God, anything's possible. Anything can be anything. And it's this beautiful invitation to the audience of coming along on the journey. Like, you know the story, but you've never seen it told this way. And it's a joy. It's a joy to perform.
You play Eleanor Dashwood in Sense and Sensibility. Eleanor is the sense, the composed, rational, always thinking of others. You said on Instagram, "Oh, how I love Eleanor Dashwood." Are you like her?
Oh, wow. No, sometimes. Am I like her? No, I don't think so. I think she's got a lot more sense. I think I'm probably somewhere in between the two. Maybe it depends on the day. But she has this selflessness. She pushes down so much of what she feels for the benefit of her family and her sister, and to keep the peace. To not be a burden. And she's so admirable in that way. Yeah, she's really quite a lovely person.
Well, I'm wondering
to
what you connect to with a character that's been around for this long.
It's the love that she has for her sister. And that sort of selfless, we've got this, it's going to be okay, push forward, that makes her heroic, I think. And it's really quite beautiful to watch her hold down the fort. They've lost their father. The family is now almost destitute. She sees that her mother is deep in grief, and she just takes on the baton of like, okay, I'll write to our family members to see if we can have a house. I'll redecorate the place. I'll, it's so much. But at the same time, there's also such a forgetting of the self and not allowing the self to feel. And I think that's her journey. And her sister has kind of like the opposite. And in the end, a person can't just be head or heart, right? Like, you have to find the marriage between the two, and that's the story.
But before we go, I wanted to ask you just about the logistics of doing this kind of work at Stratford. So for people who aren't familiar, like, how many roles are you doing this summer?
3.
3 roles. Do you also have to be available for other roles? But it's 3 sort of meaty roles, right?
Yeah, most of the time it's 3 roles, and often there's understudies as well. I've been lucky that I'm not understudying this year, but that's part of the job. Okay,
so most actors I talk to on the show, this is their routine that they talk to me about. It's like, me and so-and-so got together. We rehearsed for a month or 2, we did the show for about, a month or 2. And then I was done and I'm exhausted. I don't know how I'm going to do it. So you're doing 3 lead roles or meaty roles, we'll say, somewhat concurrently. What's the trick to doing that? How does your day-to-day life change to do that?
Well, they're spaced out,
sure,
which helps, right?
Yeah.
Like, we started with all As You Like It, and Phoebe is an amazing part. Tried to get off book as fast as possible. You get to play around with that, and then suddenly the rehearsals for the Sense and Sensibility, the second show, come in, and so for a while you're juggling both. You're in rehearsals on one day for one day for the other. Sometimes it's the same day, and it's just between rooms. This is why I mean, like, it's an actor's gym. You are stretching yourself, and I think it is important to have like a little kind of, okay, where's my baseline? Okay, where am I? Boom, boom. you sort of jump to the task at hand. And then once those 2 are open, you start rehearsals for the 3rd. So they're open and they're running. So you have to keep your energy up to perform. But when you're not performing, you're rehearsing the 3rd show. And that's Dangerous Liaisons. And Madame de Merteuil is, oh my God, she's an amazing part. And I'm having a lot of fun. I'm right in the middle of learning the lines now, and it's really text-based. So yeah, that's its own thing.
I have a bunch of questions about this, but to the actor, they may sound silly, but I'm curious about this. How do you learn that? How do you balance having to memorize that many lines between 2 full pieces that are up and running, and also trying to learn a pretty dense script for the 3rd one? What's the trick to that?
Memory's elastic. I think the more you do it, the better you get.
So you have a pretty good memory?
I don't know, but I'd like to think so.
I would say so.
But also, in the doing, it goes past the brain, right? It becomes part of your body. It's what you do. Like, you hear actors say that all the time backstage. It's like, this is what I do now. This is the choreography of my life, is this show.
But so are you sleeping? Do you have rules around how much you sleep?
You need to sleep.
Well, my question is, this require in my mind, such a monastic level of devotion to this thing. If I'm running 2 shows and rehearsing a third one, I'm just curious about what your day-to-day is like. I'm curious about what you're eating. I'm curious as to are you doing certain things? I can't do this. I can't do that. I need to sleep this much. I need to sacrifice this.
Am I doing I can't? I don't know if I'm literally telling myself I can't, but we are definitely in a time right now where we're rehearsing that third one and the 2 are up. There isn't that much time for anything else, really, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is what we do. And we're trying to get off book, and we're trying to, find out who these people are on stage and in the world.
While doing other shows.
Yeah. Sleep is really important. Eating properly is really important. But also, doing other things kind of is as well. Like, I'm a huge gardener.
Yeah.
And that's my meditation. So I start a morning just doing that. And suddenly I'm back in touch with myself. And there's a kind of a calm there before the storm of the day. And to come back to that at the end of the day too, it's like touching home, touching ground.
I was going to say, how does the day end on one of those days?
The summer is perfect for that too. Like, after a long day of, let's say, shows or rehearsal, you come home, have a glass of wine outside when it's still hot. You can feel the residual sun on the skin. Oh my God. And you just let go of whoever you were that day to find who you actually are.
Are you ever worried about the roles bleeding into one another, the characteristics of one bleeding into another role, bleeding into another role?
It can happen.
Has it happened?
Usually, well, often it's when you're not focused, right? Like, something goes on autopilot. I remember last year, I was in Twelfth Night playing Viola and Lady Capulet in Romeo and Juliet. And Lady it was set in Renaissance, right? So the beautiful long dress. And in Twelfth Night, I was playing a woman disguised as a man. So I had this long, wide stride and different posture. And it was at a time where we were a little bit more tired. And I remember walking on stage in that big dress as Lady Capulet being, that's Viola's trying to peek out of the dress. Like, the energy was, both of them were existing at the same time. I haven't had that experience yet.
Knock on wood.
No, knocking on wood.
Yeah.
They're just, you have to compartmentalize them in your mind,
I like how you said it. It's what happens when you're not focused. When you don't have this. I don't know I don't know how you keep up that level of focus for half the year, but good on you. Good on you.
Yeah.
Is there a young you in the audience? Do you ever meet the young you who's 5 or 6 and coming in to see these things and having their mind blown by theater the way yours was?
Tom, it's the reason why I do it. It is the reason why. And it's not about a young me. It's a young person who might look like me, who might identify to me. If they can see themselves represented on stage, and it makes them feel more themselves, or it injects joy in their life, and it makes them see the world in a more expansive way, I've done my job. So that is a huge part of what gives me the love of it.
Have you had that experience? Do people say it to you?
Yeah.
What do they say?
That either that, let's say, they had never seen it that way, or let's say for Sense and Sensibility, that I was able to capture something in their love of what this book is or that movie is, or that maybe they came a little bit worried to the theater, like, this is my favorite thing, please don't ruin my favorite. And then somehow I was able to capture it and yet bring something new at the same time. That's what we do it for, So it means a lot.
I mean, it's rare to meet someone with this level of affection for the craft that you've taken on. And I'll not to betray your trust here, but when Jessica first came in off mic, I said to you, we have a little chat before we go on the air, and I said to Jessica, geez, you must be exhausted. And I will say that's typically the point where actors will tell me the truth about it. They'll be like, oh yeah, man, I'm destroyed. I'm just destroyed. I don't know how I'm going to keep doing this. And you said, well, what an honor it is to get to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happy. It's happy tired.
Yeah.
It's the best kind of tired. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Thanks so much for coming in. Congratulations on everything.
Much.